let me give you a little quick bio on Nick. And for those of you that don't know him, he's a great guy to be able to go get together with him and do a one-on-one with him. And we'll go over one-on-ones at the end of the presentation for all the new folks that are here. So Nick Mathe. Nick has experience in real estate, construction, and the mortgage industry for the past 7.5 years. He has been in the reverse mortgage industry while at Bank of America. His reverse mortgage team led the nation in customer service. In 2005, Nick received his Master's in Business Mathematics certification and has held several insurance and real estate licenses, including his California real estate license and federal mortgage NMLS license. In 2009, Nick was appointed to chairman of the Silicon Valley Community Volunteers, culminating with throwing the first ball at the Giants game. How cool is that, right? Being able to throw the first ball at a Giants game.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Strike.
What? A strike too. All right. So Nick has worked with the United Way, Habitat for Humanity, and numerous charities. He's also an ambassador here at the Fremont chapter, as well as the Alameda chapter for Successful Thinkers. Nick has a family of 6 girls, 1 grandson, and a fantastic wife, as well as 2 female cats. Now I'll treat you a boy, girl, you know? I've got lots of boys.
1 dog.
1 dog, and that's male. Aside from volunteerism, Nick's hobbies include swimming, gardening, hiking, writing, and photography. Let's give a big round of applause to Nick.
Thank you very much. I was very touched by Dr. David's opening, and I'll talk about his book because it really segues into what I'm going to talk about. And there's 3 things that he said, which are, let me see, he says, did I live, did I love, and did I matter? And I got to tell you, in working with over 3,000 seniors and helping change their lives with a reverse mortgage, the first thing we talk about is, did they matter? They tell me their life story before we even get to any numbers. In fact, it's so much like being a successful thinker. They want to get to know love, they want to know and respect, they want to know and like you. They do not care about you whatsoever unless they can trust you. And then, we might talk business. But in the meantime, we usually cry about things they regret, things they want to do before they pass on, what they're going to do for the rest of their life, how they're going to do it, will they have enough money? I'll tell you a story. The second person I saw, the second people I saw, the man had no face. Lived in Saratoga, had no face. I looked at him, all I saw was the inside of his sinuses. And here he's talking to me, and I'm sorry, I know you're eating lunch, but that was how I felt. And his wife had Parkinson's. She could no longer talk anymore because the drugs didn't work. And the son was there, and they were all crying. And I thought, oh my God, what kind of business am I in? And finally, after he dickered over some things, and he found out that it was a government program and so on, the son said, why don't you just tell them why the blank you're here? And he said, well, we're here because the insurance will not pay for the special operation my wife needs so she can talk to me again. $250,000 later, his wife, I saw his wife talk to her husband again. And I saw him get a prosthesis for his face. He's a basso profundo opera singer, and he finally got his tone back, and he sang an aria. That was my second of 3,000 experiences. And I came home, and I thought I couldn't do it anymore. I was so torn up, and so I thought, oh, this is what it's going to be like. And guess what? It is like that. Everybody has a story. And if you hear their story, what happens is they may not do a reverse mortgage. That's not what passion is. It's whether or not they have the resources to carry on a life that is the life of dignity. That's what it's all about. And I'm there as a changed person, a changed being, to help steer them to wherever that is. And so believe me, I've come to know a lot more than just numbers. I've come to know what it is to be human. And at my age, if I'm going to leave a legacy, have I done enough? And that's what I wanted to tell you what it's like to be in the reverse mortgage field. It's not the things that you think about. How many have heard horror stories about reverse mortgages? And there are some, okay? And most of the time, it's because a senior is getting money and somebody else takes that money and does something bad with it. Almost all the time, it has nothing to do with the fact that they got the money. It's the fact that that person takes that money and puts it somewhere it doesn't belong, like in an investment, a risky investment. Or when you get a reverse mortgage, if the other party is under 62, and the person who gets the reverse mortgage is 62 or over, and they pass away, the house itself has to be sold, or the reverse mortgage paid back. And you hear in the paper, wife thrown out of house. So we don't do those reverse mortgages. It takes an act of God, literally, in our company. We don't want to do those reverse mortgages unless the entire family knows mom doesn't have a place to go when the reverse mortgage is done. So I often talk to whole families for months before I actually do anything. So, let me grab my little thing here. I have it.
Yeah, we're playing with it.
I can turn the page here. We can go backwards, and I'm going to show you some of the HUD top 10, and I'll back up a little bit. And what you'll see here is, I got it backwards, but there you go. Let me get you going here. Okay. There you go. What we're trying to get to is basically a definition of a reverse mortgage. And yes? You can't hear me? Still? Okay, good. If you can't hear me, I don't know what else to do. It's right next to the... Okay, as you know, HUD runs the reverse mortgage program. And under HUD is the FHA. And the programs are safe, according to the government, if done correctly. And so it's our job to be licensed. Now can you hear me okay? It's our job to be licensed federally and a federal background check before we can even talk to you. The National Council on Aging, we've left you these handouts. You can call these numbers, you can get online, you can find out a lot of good stuff so you avoid some of the pitfalls. And also, what you'll see is HUD has the HUD's top 10, sort of like Letterman's top 10, not quite the same. But first of all, they start out by saying a reverse mortgage is a special type of loan that lets you convert a portion of your equity in your home to cash. Now, I have seen people who have left on one line a 30-watt bulb in their house, living in a real nice neighborhood, and turned off all the utilities, and are barely living off of Social Security, and have credit card debt of upwards of $30,000. And we come in and provide them with equity up to maybe $400,000, and they're finally living again. So that's the kind of people that we run into. So when you do not pay back the loan, it says, you tell the borrowers are no longer living there. The last borrower that's alive dies, the loan is due. And then you use the cash on hand to pay the reverse mortgage back when you sell the home. And the proceeds and the sales price plus closing costs for the property, if you want to go ahead and you can purchase it. Anyhow, the frequently asked questions, can I qualify for Heckham's reverse mortgage. To be eligible, you have to be 62 and own your own home outright, and or have a low mortgage balance. A lot of people do a reverse mortgage so that they can get rid of that mortgage that has probably almost the same as their Social Security, and pay it off. And then they have maybe $1,100 more a month to live on. It's that simple. That's one of the main reasons. You also are required to receive consumer information before you do a reverse mortgage. And you can find a Heckham counselor, and you'll see in your packet, there's a Heckham counseling guide there. And you also see an article written by some of the famous financial planners about why this might be a good retirement idea. Okay, and then how can I apply? Can I apply for a Heckham if I already have an FHA loan? Yes. Never been an obstacle. What kinds of homes are available? Your single-family residence? Sure. If you have a fourplex and you live in one of the units, absolutely. If you have a manufactured home that is on a permanent foundation and has been purchased and placed there once since 1976, yes. So what are the differences between a reverse mortgage and a home equity loan? With a home equity loan, or line of credit, a lot of people call it, you must have adequate income to qualify for the loan. Now, when you're 62 and older, how many of you have big incomes? Not very many. So that's why this program was created in 1989 by the FHA. So, with that said, you can't usually get a home equity line of credit if you're 62 or older and do not have the income to qualify. A reverse mortgage is different because it pays you, and there are no monthly interest payments. They accrue, and they're paid back with the balance at the end of the term, which is actually called a maturity event, which is when you move or the last borrower passes away. So a lot of you probably didn't know that. You're required to pay your real estate taxes. Taxes are always part of the deal. You're going to have to pay your utilities, hazard and flood insurance premiums. There are no credit requirements, however. So it's a real good idea for some people. Now, there's a growing number of people who are actually getting reverse mortgages to protect taking a distribution from their 401k. Because they're going to pay taxes on their distribution. And the interest rates are so low right now on reverse mortgages that the difference between the tax on the tax on the distribution and the interest that's charged on a reverse mortgage is vast. And it's a better idea to get a reverse mortgage until things come back and get better. But we advise you to talk to your financial planner, of course. Will we have an estate to leave to the heirs? Again, HUD says that when the home is sold or no longer used as a primary residence, the cash interest and other Heckham finance charges must be repaid. All proceeds beyond the amount owed belong to your spouse or estate. The debt is passed along to, no debt ever is passed along to your heirs. They could walk away. If your house is underwater, they could walk away. And they have a right to buy back the home at 95% of market value and forget altogether about the loan. Why is that? Because there's government insurance that pays us. So it even gets better for the heirs because they don't have to pay it back. How much money can I get? Well, that really depends on how old you are. You have to be 62. It depends on the current interest rate. And the lesser the appraised value of the Heckham mortgage limit of $625,500 or the home value, whichever is lower. The initial mortgage insurance premium, you're going to have two choices. One is, the standard one is the saver. The saver allows you to pay very low premium up front. 0.001 of the house value up front, about 62 bucks on average, as opposed to 2% of the 625.5 or 12,500. So what we do is we say, look at the saver first and avoid paying the $12,000. That's what we would say. If you're going to go out and talk to lenders, look at the saver first. It's the best deal. And then if you need more money, you can move over to the standard and then have a conversation. When we have an estate that we can leave to the heirs, often you will. When the home is sold, that you will have money left over, especially now that the market is starting to appreciate. If you live a very long time, it's possible your house will be underwater, but not usually. Now, let me see. You can borrow with the HECM standard option, but in addition, the more valuable your home is, the older you are, the lower the interest rate, the more you can borrow. So the older you are, the more you can get. And if you use as a rule of thumb how old you are, multiply that times your home value up to 625.5. It can't count anything more valuable than that. You might get a bit feeling for how much you can qualify for. So if you're 70, home is worth 400,000, you get probably about 280. So for an estimate of the cash benefits, I left you with a calculator here. You can just go online and look it up and plug in all the numbers, and it'll tell you how much you get. It'll be pretty close to what we would give you as well, because the government actually regulates the software that we use to determine how much you get. Should I use an estate planning service? No. I can just leave it at that, because basically they used to take 25% of the money you would get in exchange for helping you through the reverse mortgage. You do not need that. Now you just need to see a counselor for 125 bucks, and they're trained by HUD, and that's all you have to spend. So do not go see a lawyer who's going to take 25% of your reverse mortgage. You know something's wrong. Okay. And so to find a counselor, I've left you a list. You have a list there. They're all over the country. They do it by phone or in person. In California, it's required to be face-to-face unless you say, I don't want it face-to-face. You have to tell them not face-to-face. So remember, you have to be in charge here. If you're infirm or one of you is infirm, can't go anywhere, you're going to have to do it by telephone. It takes about 2 hours. The first hour, they tell you what you need to know. The second hour, they give you a quiz about it. So hopefully, and you only have to get 50% correct. So most of you can handle that. How do you receive the payment? You can select from 5 payment plans. Tenure, which pays you for a certain number of years, or life rather, and that's going to pay you forever. There's a life tenure plan, and that means that we figure out about how long you're going to live, figure out a number, and give you a monthly payment. If you live longer than that time, you get to keep it. You can keep getting the money. So if you have longevity in your family, the tenure program is not a bad idea. But that doesn't account for the truck that might hit you next week, and you might decide that maybe that isn't a good idea. The other thing is the term. You could take the payments and split them up into maybe 15 years, and figure that's all you're going to need. The most popular is a line of credit. Take what you want when you get it, and you're only charged interest on the money that you've taken. The line of credit is not charged any interest. So most people end up getting the line of credit, and that's what we usually recommend. You can do a number of these things. You can take a whole lump sum if you like. Not a good idea if you don't need to spend it all at once. The line of credit grows with the current interest rate. So why not just keep it